Can SRH finally cross the 300 barrier this time?
The Sunrisers Hyderabad and the Rajasthan Royals have such contrasting teams, especially the batting lineups. Before we get into SRH and talk about the team and break everything down, hit that subscribe button.
SRH have gone from strength to strength in this auction. They picked up some really important players in the auction and had a great retention. They picked up Ishan Kishan, Mohammad Shami, Harshal Patel, and even Adam Zampa. Overall, they look as strong as they did last season, and while we're finalists, this only means that we can expect them to finish in the top 4 again this time. If you look at their setup, they've got attacking players from the openers to number 6 and have picked up some really good Indian bowling options. They also picked up Adam Zampa, which was one thing that was missing in their team last season, was a very experienced leg spinner. They have Rahul Chahar when it comes to the Indian spin department and overall have a very balanced team. They also picked up Abhinav Manohar, who's had a great domestic run and is known for his big hits. Add to that the already existing firepower in their batting lineup, and this looks like a dangerous team. SRH have probably the most settled playing 11 this time around. One of the most interesting buys for SRH this time around has to be Ishan Kishan. They picked him up for 11.25 crores, and while he's a great buy and a great player, it's interesting because they already have an experienced keeper in Henrik Larsson. That means Ishan Kishan will be expected to field and will have to bat at number 3, which is not his preferred position. He has opened for Mumbai Indians in the past, and while he had played for them at number 3 in a few seasons, his best position and his most preferred position is at the opening slot. SRH have clearly looked to cover their bases with the Indian wicketkeeper, and probably a buy for the long run as well. This will be an interesting season for Ishan Kishan as he will be in a power-packed batting lineup, and this will allow him to go out there and play freely. At number 3, following Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma, it will be interesting to see how he plays and whether he can keep the attack going. This can be a standout season for him and a season where he comes back to the Indian setup.
Now, before we get into the analysis for each of these franchises, it's important to establish a few terms. Firstly, we'll look at the IPL mean. This metric is the average of the batting average as well as the strike rate for all of the batters in the IPL this season. We've taken data from 2021 across all of the T20 leagues from the world, and this is where we get this metric. Secondly, we also have another metric called the top 20 IPL mean, which is the same thing as the IPL mean, but for the top 20 best strike rates as well as batting averages.
If you have to start from the Sunrisers Hyderabad, we have to start from the openers, which also happens to be the most destructive in this IPL statistically. Of course, I'm talking about Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma. They have an average of about 30, which is decent for an opener, but what's most significant with them is the fact that they have a strike rate of about 165, which is way more than the top 20 IPL mean. And there's a lot more to them, right? Because they're openers, they face a lot of overs in the power play, and the strike rate in the power play is insane. Abhishek Sharma has a strike rate close to 160, and Travis Head has a strike rate of about 180 in the power play, which is the highest in all of the analysis that we have done so far. If the power play wasn't dangerous enough for the opposition, Abhishek Sharma in the middle phase of a T20 innings has a strike rate of about 180. He picks it up from 159 to 180. And now it's not just this, they are destructive, and it's very, very evident in the amount of boundaries that they hit, because they have a balls per boundary ratio of less than 4, which means they hit a boundary in less than 4 balls. They're the only batting pair in this entire IPL roster who has a ratio of less than 4.
And if as an opposition you thought that these two batters are the ones you need to get through so that you can get into the SRH batting lineup, you're in for an absolute ride. Next comes Henrik Larsson, who has an incredible record in T20 cricket for the last couple of years. Henrik Larsson is one of those batters who comes into the batting lineup in the middle overs, and from there he ensures that he bats all the way to the death, taking the attack to the opposition. Not only this, he's also known to be able to stabilize the innings and build a lot of partnerships. Now, this is also very evident in his strike rates in the middle overs as well as the death. In the middle overs, he has a strike rate of about 155, and this goes up to almost 200 towards the death. Another thing that a lot of people might not associate with Klaasen is that his non-boundary strike rate is pretty high at 73.7. What this means is that for all of the balls where he's not hitting a boundary, he's still able to maintain a strike rate of 73, which means he's getting 73 runs every non-boundary 100 balls. And unlike a lot of foreign batters, what stands out for Klaasen is that he's also an excellent player of spin, and this means that he will be neutralizing a lot of bowling attacks that are dependent on spin in the middle overs.
Amongst the pool of left-handers that Sunrisers have, they bought 2 more left-handed batters in the form of Ishan Kishan and Sachin Baby. Ishan Kishan since 2021 hasn't been the most impressive. He's had an average of 28 with a strike rate of 132 as a top order batter. These are not even decent numbers. Sachin Baby on the other hand has an average of 45, which is better than the top 20 IPL mean, with a strike rate of 130. What will be interesting is how they use Sachin Baby and what his his role in this team would be. Because with a strike rate of 130, you would think that he doesn't fit in the batting lineup that seems to be very destructive and attacking from ball one. And because he hasn't been in the front line for a lot of teams in the IPL so far, this is a surprise pick, but this seems like a pick with purpose. Ishan Kishan, on the other hand, will have an interesting role in the Sunrisers Hyderabad. It will be very surprising if he opens the batting, so he will bat either number 3 or number 4 and might just be the Indian wicketkeeper that the Sunrisers needs.
Now, while there is a lot of firepower at the top, Sunrisers have ensured that they complete that firepower towards the end of the innings as well with the purchase of Abhinav Manohar. Now, Abhinav Manohar has had a great domestic season, especially in the T20 format and also in the Maharaja Cup, where not only was he the highest scorer but also an extremely destructive batter and hitting boundaries regularly. With an average of 31 and a strike rate closing in on 150, Abhinav Manohar is going to provide great depth when it comes to the finishing for Sunrisers, and those humongous sixes are something that the oppositions will be wary of.
Now, if you're going to talk about the Sunrisers bowling lineup, we have to start from the captain, that is Pat Cummins. If you look at his numbers, it's not the most impressive numbers, but what he does is contribute with the bat and ball and the fact that he's a captain. He has an economy of 8.7 and an average of 30, which means he gets a wicket only every 30 runs. If you look at his T20 phase-wise numbers, his numbers aren't all that impressive. His economy doesn't drop below 8 in any of these phases, but his economy in the power play from 8.6 does come down to around 8.05 in the middle over, so he will look to bowl a lot of middle overs and control the game from there.
Now, moving from the overseas pacers to the Indian pacers, the SRH have done a good job at picking the right kind of bowlers for the Uppal. They've picked the likes of Harshal Patel, Jaydev Unadkat as well as Mohammad Shami. Now, Mohammad Shami is definitely going to come in and use that new ball. That's something he's been known for. He's going to be able to nip the ball in both ways, and he also has a decent economy rate of 7.89, which is the best amongst these 3 Indian fast bowlers. Not only that, he also gets a wicket every 21 runs, and he is going to be that strike bowler or someone that the captain goes to when they want wickets. But 2 bowlers that I'm more interested to look at is Jaydev Unadkat as well as Harshal Patel. Now, both of them have an economy rate of above 8, and Harshal Patel is slightly expensive with an economy rate of 8.7, but these two have had a couple of good years in the IPL. They have shown that they can get wickets, ball throughout the game, they can ball in the start, they can ball in the death, and especially in those middle overs with their cutters. With Jaydev Unadkat, the Sunrisers will look to have him in the power play, have him ball mostly in the power play and not at the death. This is also suggestive because of his numbers in the phase-wise T20 format, where he has an economy of just 7 in the power play, and this gets progressively higher, and by the death, that economy goes up to 11.5, not something that the Sunrisers will want to use. And in the case of Harshal Patel, he has already bowled a lot of tough overs at the M. Chinnaswamy, and so that experience is something that the Sunrisers will be looking for from him.
Talking about the 2 spinners that the Sunrisers Hyderabad will use is Adam Zampa and Rahul Chahar. Adam Zampa has an economy of about 7.4 with an average of 21, which are excellent numbers for spinners. And even if you look at his T20 phase-wise numbers, his economy in the power play stands out. He has an economy of 6.5 in the first 6 overs of a T20 match, which of course climbs up to 7.3 in the middle phase and then climbs up to 8.4 at the death. But even these are good numbers, which means he can be used at the power play, in the middle phase and at the death. He will be a fantastic wicket-taking option because even if his economy worsens through the T20 innings, his average and strike rates only improve. In fact, he's the only spinner in this team that's better than the IPL mean.
Now, along with Adam Zampa, Rahul Chahar is also a wrist spinner who is going to be used throughout that innings and is going to be an important wicket-taking option for the Sunrisers. Rahul Chahar's phase-wise numbers are also very similar to that of Adam Zampa in terms of the progression itself. While he starts off with a brilliant economy of 5.75 in the power play, this number goes up gradually, and by the time it's the death overs, this economy goes up to 9.4.
Now, what adds great depth in SRH's batting and their bowling lineup is the fact that the top order batsman and Nitish Kumar Reddy can contribute both with the bat and ball. We've seen Abhishek Sharma, Travis Head roll over their arm, and Nitish Kumar Reddy being a genuine all-rounder. This will only help the Sunrisers Hyderabad add more depth, have a deep batting lineup with a lot more options in their bowling.
Here's a probable playing 11 for SRH this season. SRH will start off with Abhishek Sharma and Travis Head, who look like one of the most destructive opening partnerships in this IPL. They did really well for them last season, and Abhishek Sharma had a breakout season. He played well in the domestic season leading up to that IPL, and his performances in the IPL led him to come to the Indian setup. He looks like a very destructive player, and along with Travis Head, it's one of the opening pairs to watch out for. At 3, you'll have Ishan Kishan, who's their new acquisition this season, and that means you have 3 destructive left-handed opening batsmen in that top 3. At 4, you probably have one of the best players in the world in Henrik Klaasen. He's been instrumental for SRH last season and also for the South African setup. He's gone from strength to strength, and he will be looking to continue his good run in this IPL. At number 5, you'll have another breakout star for them last season in Nitish Kumar Reddy. Since his India debut, he's looked brilliant. He looked comfortable at the highest stage and will look to follow up the previous campaign with another one this season. He's contributed both with the bat and the ball and is set for another exciting season. At number 6, you'll have Abhinav Manohar, who's known for his big hits and has played really well in the domestic setup this time around. He will be looking to capitalize again, and with SRH's batting lineup, this will allow him to play freely. At number 7 is where it gets interesting. They have picked up the likes of Sachin Baby and Atharv Taide, who might play as a floater at that number 7 position. But if they do want someone at the top of the order, they have the option of playing Kamindu Mendes and then pushing their already existing batting lineup one position down. At number 8, they'll have Pat Cummins, who was brilliant for them last season and led them to the finals. He was great with the ball in hand, he was great with the bat in hand, and looked like a solid player for SRH. He will look forward to this season and will hope that he can take SRH again into the top 4. At number 9, they'll have Harshal Patel. While he might not be the most aesthetically pleasing bowler, he gets the job done. He picks up wickets in every interval whenever he's brought on, and he's a death over specialist. This is something that SRH can really use, especially in Indian conditions. SRH can use this. And to be honest, he was one of the best Indian bowling options available in this auction. Add to that their new acquisition Mohammad Shami, and together the three of them look like a brilliant pace attack. They're well balanced, they can bowl in different parts of the innings, and they look like a complete unit. At number 11, you'll have Rahul Chahar, and adding him to the mix, this makes a great bowling unit. The setup and this time around for their bowling attack allows Chahar to bowl a little more freely and probably go for a few more wickets. I wouldn't be surprised if Rahul Chahar is the attacking bowler for them in the middle overs. Add to that the fact that you have Adam Zampa who can come in as an impact player, and you have two quality leg spinners. The partnership of Chahar and Zampa can really get a hold of the opposition in the middle overs, and you'll have Harshal Patel to operate in the depth. This is not going to be an easy team to face because they have attacking batters, they push through the middle overs with Henrik Larsson and Nitish Kumar Reddy, and they have a very well balanced bowling unit. It'll be an exciting season for SRH. I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the top 4. I don't see a particular weakness in this team, but it'll be interesting to see how that number 7 operates and who they pick for that position.
Now, moving from the most destructive batting lineup in the IPL, we move on to the first time champions of the IPL itself, and that's Rajasthan Royals.
Rajasthan Royals have made a few bold calls this season. When it comes to the retentions, they let go of Joss Butler and Yuzvendra Chahal and ended up retaining Dhruv Jurel and Shamron Hetmeyer for 14 and 11 crores respectively. Have Rajasthan Royals missed a trick here? They do look like a well-balanced unit at the end of the auction, but compared to last season, they do look like they've just dipped off a little bit in terms of quality. Adding Joss Butler and Yuzvendra Chahal to this team would have elevated it a little bit more and probably would have been favourites to finish in the top 4. Now, they do have players with potential, but not that much experience. Dhruv Jurel, especially in this T20 format, has shown glimpses of how he can finish off the innings, but doesn't have a lot of experience backing him. Getting him for 14 crores might have been a mistake. Adding to the fact that you got Shamron Hetmeyer for 11 crores, and could they have gotten a better middle order in that price at the auction? It'll be an interesting season for them ahead. They did get the spin duo of Hasaranga and Tikshana, and if Hasaranga is fit, this could be an exciting season for him. He is one of the best T20 spinners going around and has really carried Sri Lanka in those middle overs. This can also be an opportunity for him to bat down the middle order and pack a punch with his few big hits as he has in the past. Add to that the fact that they got back Jofra Archer, they retained Sandeep Sharma, they also bought Tushar Deshpande, who had a great season last year for CSK. Overall, this looks like a settled bowling unit, but adding Chahal to that would have just elevated the team. They do have a settled batting lineup as well, and they retained most of the young Indian batters in Riyan Parag, Dhruv Jurel, Yashasvi Jaiswal, and also their skipper Sanju Samson. They picked up Nitish Rana, who's likely to slot in at number 3. It'll be interesting to see how some of the new acquisitions fared this time around. They did pick up Nitish Rana and Vaibhav Suryavanshi, who's a 13-year-old kid. He looks exciting from the videos that we've all seen on the internet, but is he ready for the IPL? They also picked up the likes of Akash Madhwal, who was great for Mumbai Indians last season in those death overs, and also managed to pick up Fazlak Farooqi, who's had an outstanding outing with Afghanistan in the last few seasons. He looks like a great prospect, and add to that Sandeep Sharma and Jofra Archer, they look like a very well-balanced unit. They also picked up the likes of Kumar Kartikeya, Shubham Dubey, and overall look like a good setup.
One of the most attacking Indian openers in recent times in all of the formats that he plays for India is Yashasvi Jaiswal. Since 2021, he has an average of 32 with a strike rate of 151, which is better than the IPL mean. And if you break this down into the phases in a T20 innings, he has a strike rate of 154 in the power play, which dips down to around 148, which is again impressive in the middle phase, and then he finally picks it up to around 193 at the death. For someone like a Yashasvi Jaiswal who's very young and would want to put his foot forward in the white ball format, this season will be very, very important for him.
Now, to accompany the fire of Yashasvi Jaiswal, you probably have the ice of Sanju Samson to go at the top of the innings. This is also probably the reason they left Joss Butler, is because Jaiswal's been in form and Sanju Samson has been opening for the Indian team, which means that he will be doing the same thing here for the Rajasthan Royals. Like Yashasvi Jaiswal, Sanju Samson too has an average of around 33 and his strike rate is 146. With Samson, you want him to bat through the entire innings. With a strike rate of 135 in the power play, this only picks up as the innings progresses, going to 151 in the middle overs and then picking up to 177 at the death. With Samson, it's more than just his numbers. What RR will want him to do is ensure that he's consistent through the season. He's had a lot of seasons where he's been hot and cold, started off well and then trailed off. This time with the added experience and the Indian caps under his feathers, he will want to make sure that he's consistent so that he can give Rajasthan Royals good starts consistently. Both these openers are also going to be extremely important to take the attack to the opposition. This is also reflective in their balls per boundary ratio, which is the best in this franchise itself.
Talking about someone who had a fantastic season last year after all this while was Riyan Parag. He averages 36 with a strike rate of 151, which is again better than the IPL mean. What isn't surprising is the fact that if you break his T20 phase-wise innings down, these aren't the most impressive numbers. His strike rate in the power play is 128, but again, he doesn't walk into the power play very often, which he then picks up to 135 in the middle phase, and at the death, he has a strike rate of about 158. Again, these aren't the most impressive numbers, but these are also reflective because of the previous poor seasons he's had so far. I do say this because last year at the death, he had a strike rate of 190, which is very, very impressive if you look at his overall numbers. Now, Riyan Parag, because he played for the Indian team and the season he had last season and the domestic cricket that he's been playing so far, he will want to continue his consistent form and will want to score big this IPL. Not just for his sake, but also for the sake of the team who's backed him for so many years.
Now in the middle order, you obviously have the retention of Dhruv Jurel, something that has been a talking point. His numbers in fact are not impressive at all, with him not even getting 500 runs since 2021 across T20 games. Now why Jurel has been paid such a hefty price is something that only the team management can tell us. With Dhruv Jurel, because of the experience he's had with the Indian test team and because of the cool head he has on his shoulders, this might come in handy for Rajasthan Royals this season. Add to the fact that he's also a wicket-keeping option that they can use, and because of all of this, Dhruv Jurel has probably got that backing and will want to make sure that he proves the team management correct.
Someone who has been picked in every IPL team and has been playing consistently but hasn't had a standout performance so far is Nitish Rana. He does have an average of about 30 and a strike rate of 133. These are of course decent numbers, but he is the kind of batter who will have to play at the top because he hasn't shown the side of him that can finish off games in a T20 match. He is a left-handed batsman who is a good player of spin and is also very, very experienced. So the Rajasthan Royals will look to squeeze every kind of potential out of him.
Coming to the finishers for the Rajasthan Royals, you are going to be looking at Shubham Dubey as well as Shimron Hetmyer. With Shimron Hetmyer, you get tons of experience as he's played in franchise leagues all over the world, and this is something that the Rajasthan Royals will really look to make use of. Shimron Hetmyer has been a regular for the Rajasthan Royals and knows the setup inside out. While he has an average of just 27 and a strike rate of around 140, he is going to be crucial to be finishing off games for the team. Like a lot of the other players in this batting lineup, Shimron Hetmyer too is a good player of spin. But coming to Shubham Dubey, who seems to be a very exciting prospect, he does have an average of 38 and a strike rate of over 150. It will be interesting to see how this season goes and if he gets promoted slightly up the order instead of just batting towards the finishing role. And I say this because of his non-boundary strike rate of about 74.5. This is the highest non-boundary strike rate for a player in the Rajasthan Royals lineup, and this means that he will be crucial if he comes into those middle overs in terms of rotation of strike.
What will be key for the Rajasthan Royals bowling lineup are the two spinners, that's Teekshana and Hasaranga. Both of them have a better bowling average than the top 20 IPL mean. Hasaranga has an excellent economy of 6.9 with an average of just 16, whereas Teekshana again has such an impressive economy of 6.8 with an average of 24. Now if this isn't enough, if you look at Teekshana's T20 IPL phase-wise numbers, you'll be a lot more impressed. He has an economy of 6.9 in the power play, which continues to be 6.9 in the middle phase of a T20 match, which then rises to just 7.9 at the death. For someone who gives less than 8 runs per over throughout a T20 innings, you will want to use him very, very efficiently.
While the Rajasthan Royals do have a long fast bowling lineup in terms of the Indian bowlers they have, their main fast bowling lineup is going to be filled with overseas fast bowlers. They do have the likes of Jofra Archer, Quena Mapaka as well as Fazal Haq Farooqi. Now Fazal Haq Farooqi stands out amongst all of these bowlers with a bowling average of just 18 and an economy of 6.9. He's also the most experienced fast bowler in this lineup in terms of the games he's played since 2021. He's someone who plays in franchisee leagues all around the world, and in general he's had a good season this year. It will be interesting to see the combination they go ahead with because Jofra Archer hasn't been particularly impressive either for England or in general in the T20 format, whereas if you look at Fazal Haq Farooqi's phase-wise numbers, they're extremely impressive. In the power play, he goes at just 6.9 and this number goes up slightly in the middle overs to 7.6. Obviously, this rises further in the death to 8.6, but these are still really impressive numbers and he can be used throughout the T20 innings. Now with Quena Mapaka, he has an economy of 8.23 and a bowling average of 26, which is decent, but something that's exciting is that this guy is a really young fast bowler. We saw Mumbai Indians launch him last year. He's also a left-arm pace pacer. And considering all of this, it is going to be interesting to see if the Rajasthan Royals are ready to take a punt on him and grow him throughout the season.
Out of all the Indian fast bowlers that Rajasthan Royals have, the main few are Akash Madhwal, Sandeep Sharma and Tushar Deshpande. Now Sandeep Sharma has been in the Rajasthan Royals setup for a very long time, and if you look at his T20 phase by his numbers, it's not all that surprising. He has an economy of 7.0 in the power play, which rises up to 8.4 in the middle phase and 10 at the death. It is very well understood that Sandeep Sharma will be used with the new ball, not only because he's a good new ball bowler, but also someone who can swing the ball both ways. We also saw him improve his death bowling last season with a lot of slower balls in his arsenal and the Yorkers that he could perfect. It will be an interesting toss-up between Tushar Deshpande and Akash Madhwal, because we know Akash Madhwal took a 5-wicket haul with the Mumbai Indians last season, and Tushar Deshpande can also bat, with their economy and average being not the most impressive.
It will be interesting to see which one of these Indian fast bowlers gets picked, and this will be heavily dependent not only on the conditions but also the kind of balance that Rajasthan Royals are looking for.
Let's see the probable 11 for Rajasthan Royals this time around. Having missed out on Butler, even though they went heavy on him in the auction, this means that Sanju Samson is likely to open with Yashasvi Jaiswal. Sanju Samson has opened for the Indian team in those T20 internationals and has looked very good in that opening slot. This will also allow him to set the tone for the innings, and along with Jaiswal, can really go from ball 1. At 3 they'll have Nitish Rana, who honestly is a good pick for the Rajasthan Royals. He has played well for KKR and Mumbai Indians in the past, but has just gone downhill a little bit because of his injury last season. He will be raring to go, and we look forward to a season where he might be the best option at number 3. At 4, you'll have the standout performer last season in Riyan Parag. He's looked really good for Rajasthan Royals and has finally come off for them last season. He will be looking for another solid campaign for them and will be instrumental if Rajasthan Royals want to finish in that top 4. At number 5 and 6, they'll have Dhruv Jurel and Shimron Hetmyer, who will act like the finishers for this team. Dhruv Jurel has shown glimpses of how good he can be, but needs to be a little more consistent, especially in this T20 format. Hetmyer, on the other hand, is an X-factor player. He can win you games single-handedly on his day, but lacks that consistency as well. It'll be interesting to see how long Rajasthan Royals back him and if he goes the entire season as their finisher. At number 7, you'll have Shubham Dubey, who has played well for them last season as well and came in with a few cameos. At number 8, you'll have Hasaranga. At number 9, you'll have Jofra Archer. While these two are primarily their key bowlers, they can also hit the long ball. Hasaranga has played some really important innings for Sri Lanka in T20Is, and Jofra Archer can hit the long ball, as we've seen even in the IPL. 10 and 11, you'll have your Indian bowlers in Sandeep Sharma and Tushar Deshpande. Tushar Deshpande had a ridiculous season for Chennai Super Kings last season. He was their key bowler, especially in those power play overs, and add to that the fact that they have Sandeep Sharma. This looks like a lethal bowling attack. For their impact player now, they have a couple of options. For a turning track, they can go with the likes of Tikshana, and if they want to play an extra fast bowler, they have the option of playing Fazlak Farooqi, with the likes of Riyan Parag and Nitish Rana, who can roll their arm over and have proved effective in the last few seasons. They have a lot of options when it comes to their bowling attack. It'll be interesting to see who Rajasthan Royals back and whether it's Tikshana or Fazlak Farooqi in the long run. Overall, they look like a very well balanced unit, but might have missed a trick when it comes to their retention. It'll be an interesting season for Dhruv Jurel and Hetmyer to see if they can consistently finish off games, and who knows, this might be the opportunity for Vaibhav Suryavanshi to come in as well. It'll be an interesting season for the 13-year-old, and who knows, might be one of the emerging players this season.
This has been a video on analyzing Rajasthan Royals as well as the Sunrisers Hyderabad. Leave your playing 11s down below. Definitely hit that subscribe button, like this, share this with all of your Rajasthan Royals and Sunrisers Hyderabad friends. All of our links are in the description. We have a WhatsApp channel that we update regularly, so definitely give that a follow, and also follow our Instagram. There's going to be a lot happening through this IPL. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.